welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time that I've been given the pleasure to introduce myself to you, I'm Vanessa and I, and welcome to the fam. So as we have already established by the title of this video, today's readings are all about the urgent messages about your future. So in order to help you figure out what is coming towards you and how to best cope with each individual situation, I have prepared 5 groups that you can choose from, and I would like you to pick one of these 5 groups intuitively. So just go with whichever crystal that you feel like truly resonates with you as a person. So the crystals are as follows. We have the coffee obsidian, we have the red jasper, we have the rose quartz, we have the amethyst, as well as the amazonite. But you guys, the timestamps will be down below in the description box, as well as pinned to the comment section. And recently, a lot of you have been asking me if it's okay to choose multiple groups. Of course, that is completely fine. In some situations, you need a little more guidance because your personal reading could be a mixture between the readings of multiple crystals. So there is absolutely no shame in the multiple groups game. And guys, before I get into the readings, I just wanted to thank each and every one of you who is here on my channel supporting me day in and day out. I honestly cannot believe how quickly my channel has grown, and I'm just so thankful for that. And I try and show you guys by posting content consistently, by making sure that I'm active in the comment section, as well as in any other way, shape, or form that I can be. Because you guys, while I try to keep everything really professional, this is not a job to me. This is something that I absolutely love. This is my passion. I've always known that I wanted to reach a lot of people, and I wanted to be able to help a lot of people. And to have this be my outlet for that, I am beyond grateful for it. So yes, you guys, I will continue to heart a ton of comments. I will continue to spend hours each day replying to comments because I want each and every one of you to feel like you're special and valued because you truly are. Because without you guys, my channel, my life wouldn't be the way it is right now. And I'm so grateful for it, and I'm a big believer in the fact that actions speak louder than words, so I try to reflect that in each and every piece of content that I put out, and just by trying to interact as much as I can. So we're gonna get straight into the readings. I'm going to be starting off with the first group, which corresponds to the coffee obsidian, and to all the other groups, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello, group number 1, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the coffee obsidian group number 1. I want to get straight into your reading to figure out exactly what urgent messages that we have for you regarding your future. So first and foremost, we have the world. Group number 1, this is such a favorable card. I just want to tell you first and foremost that it looks as though your future is very positive. It looks as though it is very bright and you have a completion that is nearing. So this could be a big project. This could be hitting your next financial targets or finding love, whatever it is that is currently very important to you. I want you to know that the odds are stacked in your favor, that everything is working within the realms to create positivity, happiness, and joy for you. And as I said, you know, the world is a card of fulfillment, of celebration, of completion. So group number 1, if you've been feeling like you needed motivation to move forward and push through obstacles, allow this to motivate you, knowing that at the end of the day, it's going to pay off tenfold. But let's move further into your reading. We have the 6 of crystals, the page of shells, as well as love. So group number 1, in the 6 of crystals, as well as the page of shells, we have earth energy as well as water energy, okay? So this is kind of energy that functions together very well in correlation to love. I want you to know that that may be an indication of 2 different energies that are coming together in order to create fulfillment. Another thing with love and the world card is just the fact that, of course, if romantic love is something that you want more of, or you kind of want to get your platonic love back intact, maybe you've had issues with your dad, your mom, one of your siblings, or a good friend, and you want to get that relationship back on track, I want you to know here that trust is going to be rebuilt, okay? The future is looking as though your relationships are going to get back to a place of contentment, as well as a place where you feel as though you're safe and you can trust the person around you. Then in the Six of Crystals, I want you to know here that you have to be grateful for each and every encounter, okay? In the Six of Crystals, we have a sort of implication of synergy. So within synergy, I want you to know that everything works together. So you may have thought to yourself in the past, like, oh, why do certain nationalities or countries or just demographics, why do they do certain things? Why do they litter a lot? Why do they have to depend a lot on, benefits, etc.? So of course, these are things that can be very political. These are things where our worldviews might be challenged and where sometimes we catch ourselves being judgmental. But I want you to know that everything functions together, and I want you to be inspired by that. That is one thing that I see in the Page of Shells. When you feel like giving up on the world, or you feel like certain parts of the world just don't understand how important it is to make a change, to combat, for instance, climate change, or for instance, just polluting the earth. When you feel like giving up, keep in mind, like, a lot of different nations and cultures have different jobs. So some nations, they produce a lot of food for the entire world. Some nations, they are like the disposers of Western cultures, things that they don't want anymore. A lot of Western cultures, we don't even know this, send junk, things that we don't want to recycle, that we don't know how to recycle, down to these countries, to the side to these countries, just to get them out of our way, and then they are left to deal with them. And obviously they don't have the infrastructure, and then we have the issue, environmental issues, etc. But that is a whole nother video for a whole nother day. I just want you to know that, knowing that everything is connected, that yes, there are a lot of different factors at play, but at the same time, we all work together, okay? When we purchase things in the store, we don't even think about how many hands, how many countries that product has run through, how many resources have come from how many different places. Know that we're all interconnected, and it's very easy to point the finger at a specific area or place or a specific nation, maybe even your own, but then you have to keep in mind that we all have to respectfully and collectively work together in order to make a change, because everybody still does provide value. So while not everybody is perfect, everybody provides value in this world. Then in Winter's End, I want you to know that there is some sort of regeneration coming your way, some sort of rebirth. So if you feel a little tired or you've been feeling a little sickly, know that just like a complete turnover of your cells, of just your patience is coming, okay? If you feel as though you've been very short-tempered and you've been unable to keep your cool, group number one, know that sometimes you just need a little bit of regeneration, a little bit of time to pass by, to just kind of like almost snow over the situation in order for spring to come, in order for a new time to come where you are able to plant new seeds, new seeds that are more in control, that are less emotional, and maybe a little bit less neurotic, okay? So that is what we have in Winter's End. But in order for winter to end, winter would have had to happen. So don't judge yourself, group number one. We're all human beings. We all have different things that we struggle with, and we all go through phases. We all go through ups and downs, and in order to regenerate, you also need to admit to yourself that maybe a regeneration is necessary. And it's not an easy thing to do, okay? Admitting to yourself that maybe you could be kinder, maybe you could be more outgoing, or maybe you could be more organized. It is one thing to admit it to yourself, but then to also kind of implement the change on the inside in order for change to happen on the outside. It's tough, but you can do it, group number one. Don't worry about whether you can or cannot. You just need to want to. Then in evolution, one thing that I see, evolution, one thing that I see here is that, obviously evolution is something that is constantly happening. There's constantly, if there's one constant, then that's change. We all know that, group number one. Now, one thing that I want you to know here is that there is a lot of transformation happening with you and your thought process in regards to this world. So as we spoke about earlier, in regards to different parts of the world, different roles that everybody plays, as well as just climate change, okay? I see that you're probably going to become a lot more proactive in the near future, which means that maybe you're going to recycle more, maybe you're going to donate to environmental causes. Maybe you're going to walk that extra mile instead of driving the extra mile. You know, just making these little changes to your everyday life, not only to simplify your life and make it more of a minimalistic approach, but also just to help the environment, also just to have your little contribution be a part of what makes this world a better place. So I definitely see a very wholesome future coming for you, group number 1, which is really interesting, just because, you know, it takes a very selfless approach to not just think about oneself, but also the world as a whole, and to come to that point, to that conclusion that we are all interconnected and we all have a value in this world. And it's important for us to not just see the negatives, but to also see the value in each person, each nation, each part of the world, and to think of a constructive way to change things instead of just pointing the blame and pointing the finger. So very progressive. That is one thing that I see here in evolution for you, group number 1, and very forward thinking. That is the kind of energy and vibe that I get from you. Then we have a no as well as a year from now. So group number 1, there may be something that you're working towards or that you think you're going to do or participate in a year from now, but things are going to change, okay? You're going to change your journey, your approach, your path, and you're going to go on a different tangent than you ever expected yourself to divert to or divert on. I'm not 100% sure, but you guys get the point. So allow that to happen, okay? There is no sort of danger here. There's nothing here that is detrimental. There is nothing here that is going to be a blockage to your happiness. It is more probable that you have switched paths, that a year from now you're going to be on a completely different path than you ever thought you would be on. It is more probable that that has happened in order for you to come to fulfillment, in order for you to really come to this point of celebration, accomplishment, and feeling as though your life has been a success. Then we have the ocean of eternal love as well as moonlight. Okay, so in moonlight, group number 1, I want you to know that I see romance and travel, as well as just the potential to grow emotionally attached to somebody else, okay? So there is maybe a little sense of codependency here, okay? That is one thing that I see here in the ocean of eternal love. There is an overwhelmingly large amount of love in your reading, group number 1, but don't feel like this is something bad. Love is a beautiful thing, and love is something that I want you to embrace. Even if you feel at times a little codependent, know that if it is somebody who cares about you, who really just wants the best for you in the situation, having this deep closeness, this very, very strong bond is something that can help you through a lot of hardship as well as a lot of turmoil emotionally. Know that in the ocean of eternal love, I see that you are able to heal as well as just come to a point of more self-belief through having somebody who you love, who you know loves you unconditionally, uplift you and be there for you and give you the confidence that you need when it has been stripped away from you in the future. And furthermore, I see fertility. So you may be somebody who wants children. You may be somebody who would like grandchildren or would like more little kids running around in your family. So I definitely see that there is a good possibility in the future for this to play a big role, okay? And maybe you're the kind of person who likes children but more from a distance. So fertility is kind of like a different ballgame for you. It's not necessarily something that you want for yourself, but maybe you want fertility when it comes to opportunities to help other people, to help children. There are so many people who don't want kids of their own just because of how the world is and just how they feel about the entire subject, which I feel is completely justified, okay? Not everybody should feel as though their life consists of getting a job, getting married, getting kids, and so on and so forth. That is just not realistic. We all have different paths, but a lot of those people like to give back to the community. A lot of those people like to help others. So I want you to know that that is also in the cards for you. That is also where I see a lot of possibility within the next year and within your future to find further fulfillment, not just by accomplishing your goals, but fulfillment through helping other people. That is always one of the greatest greatest feelings, and that is when you know that your intentions are pure and that you're somebody who consists of a lot of gratitude, when you can help other people and feel like that is the greatest satisfaction. You know what I mean, group number one? I don't know why I can't talk today, but you guys understand, okay? I'm not always that articulate, but I try, group number one. And then we have the Knight of Crystals. So in the Knight of Crystals, we have somebody of an earth sign, okay? We have earth sign energy again. This could be somebody who potentially comes into your life where there is a romantic interest. The Knight of Crystals is a very straightforward go-getter person in the earthly realms. The Knight of Crystals knows exactly what kind of life that they want for themselves, and they're going to go after it. And they like to finer things in life, and they like to build a life that is not only ethically sustainable, but also kind of luxe, okay, group number one? So you may vibe with that already off the bat of me telling you this. But furthermore, I want you to know that this person has a lot of endurance, and once they're determined to do something, there's no stopping them. So if you're in a situationship right now, group number one, where you feel as though maybe you're not the first choice, or the person is not really all that into the situation, is not really all that into you, and sometimes we just have to admit that to ourselves even when it really sucks, I want you to know that that is not the right connection for you. The right person for you is somebody who is so determined to be with you that they will overcome any obstacle, okay? We have sort of like a camel type of animal depicted here. Remember how the camel can go for like days and weeks and I think maybe even months without water? Don't quote me on that, okay? I'm not a camel expert, but I want you to know that this person can go for a long time without instant gratification. This person can go for a long time without you putting full faith and trust in them while you're still getting to know them, and still be determined enough to show you that they're 100% certain that this is the right connection for them. So the right connection for you is not going to let you down whatsoever, and is not going to have you questioning whether this is the right person or whether this person is interested or not. When they're interested, they will show it, and you will undoubtedly know. Then last but not least, we have the Knight of Crystals. Okay, you have so many crystals within your reading, group number one. This is very, very strong earth sign energy. Very strong energy that just shows that you may have to first get to a certain point in the earthly realms before you want to focus on giving, but I want you to do this a little more simultaneously, because it's very easy to say to ourselves, once I'm successful, once I have money, once I have accomplished X, Y, and Z, then I will give away some of it. But you have to kind of do this along the way, okay? That is one thing that I want you to know and focus on in order to cultivate more abundance. Just constantly wanting that strong security is not a good thing, okay? A lot of people don't feel secure financially. I think they said like the limit was like $10 million. That is the point from which people feel secure financially, from which people feel like, okay, I can relax a little. And up until then, there is this existenzangst. I don't know what that's in English. Existential fear, kind of. Okay, so maybe that was the wrong translation, but you guys get what I mean. So are you really gonna want to wait till you reach $10 million, $20 million of net worth or of income or of whatever it is that you need in order to feel financially secure before you want to give back? I'm telling you, that's not a good idea, group number one. I see that you can have so much more abundance, also financially, that you attract into your life if you start giving now. So even donating like $1, it makes a difference. It does not only make a difference to the cause, but also to your life, okay? To your flow of positive energy, to your flow of abundance, and to you as a person. So group number one, allow yourself to know, like, if it's not really gonna affect you, if it's just money that you would spend on a coffee or on a snack that you would mindlessly kind of throw out the window. Okay, I'm saying this in a very dramatic way. Know that you might as well invest that $1, $2 into making somebody else's life better and just upping your karma game. So group number one, this is the reading that I received for you. These are the messages that are very important for your future and things that you should start implementing in order to create the most amazing future for yourself. I truly hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you found it insightful. Let me know in the comment section what really hit home for you and what you're going to start implementing. And I will see you in one of my upcoming readings. Hello, group group number 2, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the red Jasper group number 2. So I want to get straight into your reading about the urgent messages that we have for you regarding your future. So first and foremost, we have the 6 of acorns. So in the 6 of acorns, I want you to know that the suit of acorns corresponds to fire signs. So you may have very fiery energy here around you in the future. This may have to do with you as well as somebody entering your life. Furthermore, I want you to know that the 6 of acorns is all about success, is all about being triumphant. So I see it as though the future is going to herald a lot of success, a lot of situations where you're like, yes, I did it. I actually did it. I didn't think I could, but I did it. So I don't want you to get too cocky, group number 2, okay? Because if there's one thing that I have learned is as soon as things start going well, if you end up making the mistake of being a little too cocky, of putting the wrong kind of energy up into the universe, up out there, I want you to know that you will most likely fall on your bum, okay? You will most likely walk into an obstacle, a challenge, or a situation where you will wish that you would have remained humble. And that is one thing that we sometimes have to learn a few times, but I want you to know that it's important to, yes, like celebrate your success, allow yourself to say like, I'm confident, I can do this, and I'm going to do this, and be happy for your accomplishments, but don't get too carried away in this amazing situation. Then we have love. So group number 2, there is a great potential for extreme romantic or platonic love to take over your life in a very intriguing way. Okay, we have the 7 of shells. So in the 7 of shells here, I see that you have choice romantically, okay? Love in correlation to the 7 of shells shows that you have sort of like the chance to choose where you want love to go to and where you want love to come from. So if you're dating, if you're single, or even if you're in a relationship, choose wisely who you want to dedicate more love and time and affection to, but also choose wisely whose love that you want, because there are different types of love, there are different types of love languages, and I personally feel like it is important to have your love language taken care of, especially romantically. If you're romantically the kind of person whose love language is physical affection or verbal affection, or maybe gifts, make sure that your love language is fulfilled and that you align yourself with the choice that really corresponds to what you need emotionally in love. And if you feel like, I mean, of course, if your parents, if your current partner is not speaking your love language the way that you wish that they would, or, you know, your friends, your siblings, you can't just throw them away, group number 2. And I'm not suggesting that whatsoever. And that doesn't mean that they're toxic. That doesn't mean that you have to cut off contact. No, but you have to communicate, okay? That is when you need to start talking about what you need in order to feel loved, what you need in order to feel like this connection is really, really deep and trusting. Furthermore, in the 7 of shells, I want you to know here that your ambitions are going to end up having a lot of success, okay? In correlation to the 6 of acorns, I want you to know here that it's important for you to remain ambitious and to not feel like you're overly ambitious, okay? Don't feel like, okay, I want to be successful but not too successful, or I want to be confident but not too confident. Know that it's really good to strive for a lot of success, to strive to really be confident in your abilities, but that doesn't have to make you cocky. You can still be humble. You can still be that person that has high ambitions without feeling icky about it. If you want to make 7 figures a year, that is ambitious, but that does not have to be cocky. You know what I mean? It always depends on the delivery. It always depends on how you go about your goals, how you go about your aspirations. Then we have the 7 of crystals. So in the 7 of crystals here, I see that you have a lot of options coming for you in the earthly realm. So this could be business opportunities, opportunities to kind of like start your own thing in business, and also job opportunities. But if you can't see them, then you don't know that they're there. So group number 2, keep your mind very open. Do not limit yourself whatsoever, because sometimes when we have so many choices, it can be very hard to remain open, because sometimes you see a choice that you think is right for you and your mind is already sort of like set on it, even though there are so many others here that you should consider. And oftentimes you get the best results when you get out of your comfort zone, so make sure that in the future you're focusing on choosing the options that get you at least a little bit out of your comfort zone. And I know this from personal experience, group number 2, it ain't easy, okay? When I set my weekly goals, I don't want to set weekly goals, but I know that when I set my goals each month for what I want to accomplish, like if I want to stay on track, I have to set those weekly goals, and they always scare me. They always put me out of my comfort zone, because I think to myself, how is it possible to accomplish this? But the only way to actually reach the monthly goal is to stay on track with these really high already weekly goals. And you just have to like face your fears of your ambitions being too big, because that can truly stop you from being successful when you feel like your ambitions are too big, or when you say to yourself, okay, I want to make 6 figures a year. I know I said 7 before, but let's make it easy. I want to make 6 figures a year. And then you break it down and you figure out like, I actually have to make like over 8,000 a month to comfortably go to over 6 figures a year. And it's scary when you actually break it down, because it's easier to just say, oh, this year I want to do this big goal. But to actually stay on track every month, it can be scary, but you need to in order to really track your progress and your success, and to make adjustments early on, okay? So don't feel as though this is stopping you, and don't feel as though you will just feel disappointed. It actually works wonders to keep track every day of how much closer you're getting to your goals, because it puts something in your head that makes every action subconsciously get you closer to your goals, okay? Everything that you do is more inspired. Everything that you do is more precisely moving you towards what you want, all because you have subconsciously instilled and rehearsed your goals for the year, for the month, for the week, and you're thinking about that subconsciously. You looked at it every day, so your action is going to be inspired towards that. Do you get what I mean, group number 2, or do I just sound crazy at this point? Let's move further into your reading. We have choose a new direction as well as helpful people. So group number 2, I definitely see as though for your life in the future, the most beneficial way to make an adjustment is for you to choose a new direction while consulting people who know what they're talking about. So sometimes people give you unsolicited advice about what you should do for your work, or what you should do just in life in general. Sometimes love, sometimes, just personally to reach your accomplishments. But this unsolicited advice, why I'm calling it unsolicited and why I'm kind of like side-eyeing it, group number 2, and I hope you are too, is when it comes from people who know exactly what you want to accomplish, and they feel very strongly about their opinion, but they have never accomplished anything close to what you want to accomplish. So it's kind of like, well, I mean, how much does your advice matter over my opinion and the advice that I have for myself? You know what I mean? There has to be credibility there. So if there is no credibility with the person who is trying to give you advice, group number 2, listen to a podcast. Open up a book from somebody who inspires you. Talk to somebody, a mentor, a business coach. Whoever it is, an athlete, a professional athlete, just hit the person up, okay? The worst thing that can happen is that you get no response, or that you get a response from an agent saying that they don't have time, or whatever it is. But the best case scenario is that you actually get in touch with the person, that you actually can benefit from the book, from the podcast, from the interviews, and change your life for the better. So group number 2, see how valuable that is, and think to yourself all that you can gain if you go out of your way to consult truly helpful sources, and just ignore the other sources where you feel like, okay, I'm going to listen to this piece of information, but I'm not necessarily going to implement it just because this person has never been where I'm trying to go. So if I feel like a different option is better, I might as well go with my option, because we both don't know what we're doing, okay? And a lot of time, friends and family, when you have big dreams, they're scared for you, and they feel as though they're protecting you by trying to keep you in a little bubble that they feel is safe, but it's not, okay? It's important for you to accomplish your goals. It's important for you to get outside of your comfort zone. You have one life. What's the point in staying in this safe bubble that is not always safe? If you have a regular day job, that is not always the safest option. You can get fired tomorrow. So if you would have, instead of your day job, built an entire empire with multiple streams of revenue, which one is safer? I mean, obviously, the empire. But a lot of people don't see it that way, or they just see the obstacles instead of seeing all of the potential. But let's move further into reading. We have Gaia, we have the dream, we have lost love, as well as sacred heart. So group number 2, let's see what's going on here for you. One thing that I see here in Gaia is a kind of deeper understanding. Okay, group number 2, I see that you're going to be learning an immense amount of information, new information, logical information. And that is one thing that I really appreciate. So group number 2, you may be like me and you may like a nice mixture of what seems like, spirituality and so on, but also cold, hard facts. And yes, my channel is about working with oracle cards, tarot cards, but at the same time, like we don't just sit here and say, okay, we'll just trust in this card and we will accomplish our goals. Like, we know that there has to be action with every one of these meanings. There has to be you doing something in order to get to that next stage in life. Things will not just happen. It is very important for you to know that in order for things on the outside to change, we have to change on the inside. We have to change our routines and the things that we do every single day. But the potential, that is one thing that you can get from my readings, just knowing how capable you are, motivating yourself, seeing what sort of opportunities are coming towards you. This is not a coincidence why you're here. So keep that in mind, group number 2. So I want you to know here that this knowledge is going to really bring you to a breakthrough. That is one thing that I see in the dream. In the dream, I see here that you will have this divine insight where you will all of a sudden understand how you can take the next step to accomplish a grand, really big goal. So if that is starting your own business, if that is maybe just working yourself up the job ladder at your current place of employment, know that you will have this breakthrough, you will have this aha moment, this epiphany through the knowledge that you have gained. Also in your personal finances, you will think to yourself, wow, if I save this way or if I invest my money this way, I will be in a much better spot later down the line. So this kind of realization of what is really important to you and just this growth through knowledge, that is one thing that I see coming for you in the near future, group number 2. In lost love, I want you to learn to release. Okay, there is a situation here in lost love in correlation to the sacred heart, group number 2, where I see that there is love, there is passion, but there's also a situation where you kind of just need to let go. So maybe you're in a situationship that you instinctually and intuitively know has to end at some point, or you may feel as though, you just have to release some expectations, especially with loved ones, because at the end of the day, family, friends, some of them you can choose, but you can't really change any of them. They would want to have to change out of their own motivation. They would want to have to change because they want to, not because you told them to, especially in correlation to whether they truly believe in you or not. And that is something a change that they have to make. And up until then, please, group number 2, just surrender to this, okay? Don't allow it to eat you internally. Don't allow it to eat away at you in a way how you have the relationship change or sort of fade. I know in certain situations that is the only thing, the only way, because the person is maybe toxic or stopping you from achieving your goals. But I also want you to just kind of surrender to knowing, hey, if they want to change, you'll be there for them and you'll keep trying to motivate them and encourage them to see things from a different perspective as well, but you're not going to hold your breath and you're not going to allow it to affect you or the relationship negatively. So keeping that sort of sacred heart, keeping that love, that sort of connection intact, and learning to love people the way they are, that is one thing that I see that you will come to terms with in the near future, and you will learn this is the best way for me to deal with this person. This is the best way for me to keep my mental sanity as well as just keep my relationships intact. So group number 2, this is a reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Let me know down in the comment section what really hit home and what you feel like you're going to be trying out in the near future. And I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Rose Quartz, group number 3. This is the stone of eternal love, of friendship, as well as, of course, romance. But let's move further into your reading to see about the important messages that we have regarding your life. So first and foremost, we have the Tower. Group number 3, this is a situation that will shake you to the core, okay? In the Tower, I see that you will have to release somebody, something, an old belief, okay? This could be as simple as getting rid of a lot of the things that you own, as well as getting rid of a relationship or just a belief that is very limiting or causing harm to your life. I see that happening in the very near future. I want you to know that the Tower is a card that indicates that you will come to a sort of revelation, to a sort of epiphany that will lead you to build a new tower for yourself, a stronger tower, a tower that has a foundation that is made to last. So as I said, in correlation to relationships, if there is a friendship, a situationship that is built on a very wonky foundation that never really had the time or the effort from both sides, both parties, to solidify, okay? For, when you pour the concrete, to let it properly settle and so on and so forth. If that never happened, then I want you to know that you will most likely have to release, you will most likely have to let the situation go, because if you do want to keep this situationship, this connection going, whether it's platonic or romantic, you will have to rebuild, okay? You will have to come to a point where both parties say to themselves, okay, we're both gonna roll up our sleeves and we're both gonna make it work. But there has to be mutual understanding, or else, this crumbling of the tower in your life is just going to lead to ruins that are not going to be rebuilt together, but you can then use those ruins to rebuild a tower by yourself. So the outcome really depends on all parties of this, group number 3. Then we have the Moon, we have the Knight of Feathers, as well as the Nine of Feathers. So the feathers correspond to air signs, okay? So we have that sort of very smart air sign energy here for you, group number 3. Air signs are very outspoken. They're intellectually on a whole nother level, okay? So if you're an air sign, you're probably like, yeah, I know, I'm very eloquent. So I want you to know here in the Nine of Feathers that there's a lot of self-empowerment happening here within the next couple months, okay? So it may be that you were knocked down. It may be that you've had a difficult childhood, a difficult upbringing, just a situation where you constantly felt like you had to prove yourself, but now is a time for self-empowerment. I see that you will instinctually know that this is what you need to do for yourself, and that is one thing that I see in the Moon. The Moon has a lot to do with your perception, and in correlation to the Tower, I feel like a big part of the crumbling, a big part of the release, of the burning down of the tower, of this foundation, is burning down some foundations that you have built that inhibit some self-doubt, okay? Where there is a part of you that doesn't fully believe that you can accomplish X amount of success in life, that doesn't fully believe maybe that you can do X, Y, Z in love, whatever it is, okay? I see that that is going to go down with this tower situation, and you will be able to empower yourself again, because you don't think that of yourself anymore, group number 3. You think of yourself as somebody who is strong, as somebody who can accomplish anything, and this is a realization that I feel a lot of my viewership has to come to, because so many of you are women, but shout out to all the men in the audience. I want you to know that it's very important for you to take action when it comes to equality, okay? When it comes to wanting to just have the same opportunities and advantages as other people. And this is not just for women, okay? This is for people of all sorts of walks of life, people of color, people who have a certain sexual orientation, a certain ethnic background or religion. I want you to know that it is challenging, but when you change your mindset, when you change how you see yourself, when you empower yourself, that is when things really start to happen. That is when people really start to change their perspective of you as well. So I want you to know that this air sign energy has a lot to do with your mental state, has a lot to do with you just changing how you think of yourself, how you see the world. And that in change, how you see yourself can change how other people see you, group number 3. So do not underestimate the power of self-belief and self-empowerment. So focus on that, take action in that. That is one thing that I see in the Knight of Feathers. The Knight of Feathers is a character, a figure that takes action, that doesn't just talk the talk. The Knight of Feathers walks the talk as well. And then we have wait as well as ask for help from others. So if there's somebody who inspires you, okay, if there's somebody who has done things that you would like to do, ask them to inspire you. Ask them like, hey, could you mentor me? Could you help me out with this? Is there any way how you could tell me your secret? How did you do it? You would be surprised at how many people are actually willing to help you out. Group number 3, have the confidence to do that, and also reach out to people in your community that you feel could maybe help you work your way like further down the line to a point where you feel more respected, okay? So if you have a certain teacher or a certain coworker, somebody who you feel truly gets you, and they don't have to get you just because they have the same struggles. There are a lot of friends of mine that don't have the same struggles that I have, but when I talk to them, I feel it, you know, I feel when they understand. I feel when they genuinely feel for me and want this world to be a more equal place. And that is just something that I respect so much, just because somebody who can be empathetic to the point where they didn't go through it, but they still understand. They still want to grasp the idea of inequality and what they can do against it. That is truly amazing. So I want you to allow yourself to, sometimes you need to give that time. That is one thing that I see in wait. There may be a couple situations that first make you feel defeated. I'm not gonna lie, group number 3. This is an honest tarot reading channel. I do not just tell you what you want to hear. So there may be obstacles first when you're trying to empower yourself, when you're trying to gain more equality, more opportunities, like say the opposite sex, say like people in other demographics. There will be obstacles, but just give it a little bit of time. And sometimes you also are just at the wrong address. Sometimes there are people who don't understand, who don't want to understand, and who never will, but they pretend like they do. You know what I mean? Like, I have had situations like that in my life where I have reached out to people who pretend like they want to help, who pretend to understand and pretend to want equality or a situation that is fair, but really their actions are proving that that is not true. But that is what they tried to say in order for everybody else around them to not be able to criticize them, so that nobody can say like, hey, that was wrong of you. You know what I mean? They're playing it diplomatic, but snaky as hell. Then we have ask your angels, as in within the next few months. So group number 3, within the next few months, I definitely see that this sort of like crumbling of anything that isn't empowering you is going to come with you building it back up with self-empowerment, as well as just asking your guides is something that will really, really help you get to a point way quicker where you can benefit from this newfound confidence and newfound ability to step into a room and say like, yeah, this is me, this is what I do, this is what I'm good at, and this is what I have to offer this world. So don't be afraid to ask your guides. Maybe you're religious, maybe you're spiritual, maybe you're somebody who feels as though like, if I speak this into the universe, into the ether, this is the energy that I will attract back. So make use of any sort of faith and belief system that you have, because your mind is the most powerful thing. Make use of this little machine that you have up here. You know what I mean, group number 3? And see improvements within the next few months. I see a lot of positive change. I see a lot of light coming for you, as well as just learning more each and every day, which will shock you, because you will feel like the more that you see, the more that you feel like you don't know anything at all, okay? And I feel like a lot of times when we're a little younger, we feel like we know so much, and the older we get, the less we feel like we know, which can be very beneficial because it makes you more open-minded to learning as well as growing. Then we have the Temptress, we have Perception, as well as Winter's End. Okay, so group number 3, let's get into the last 3 cards of your reading. In the Temptress, one thing that I see here is sexual tension. Okay, group number 3, we're just gonna say it out loud. I see that there is a situation here where you have to be careful though, because there could be somebody who is trying to deceive you to be physical because that is just what they want, okay? But they don't want commitment with that. So look out for that within the next few months, group number 3. Furthermore, in Perception, I want you to see beyond illusion. So I want you to see beyond people who say that they're confident, but they don't actually show it, okay? There are a lot of people who claim to be confident, who claim to feel a certain way about themselves, but their actions don't reflect it. So learn to see through those facades, especially when it comes to love and especially when it comes to your work, okay? It is very important for you to allow this winter's end to signify a time where you stop feeling as though that there are people in control and in power that are actually not. You're in control and you're in power, okay? And I want you to know that, especially in love, when there is this sort of physical chemistry, when there is a situation where there is seduction, where there is kind of like this power battle, okay? Who can care less about the other person is often the case in love. I want you to know that a lot of it is a facade. A lot of it is just somebody trying to play up to be strong, but they're not really. So when you start to see beyond people's facades, when you start to also see maybe beyond parts of you where you have built up a wall and a facade just to keep your ego as well as your heart safe, you will be able to be so much more chill about things, and you will feel a lot less threatened by everything, and that will allow you to go after what you want more easily, because nothing is a threat, nothing is too big to overcome, and nobody is too big of a personality for you to approach and for you to prove wrong and for you to show like, actually, I have this opinion and not that. So really growing this inner strength is what I see within you, group number 3. I see so much personal growth. I see such a change in perception within yourself. You're going to completely change who you think that you are in the future, and you're just going to think so much more highly of yourself. So allow that to reflect within your body language. Stand tall and proud. Allow yourself to give people firm handshakes and to present yourself in the most flattering way. Don't be shy, group number 3, because you have the qualification, you have the mental capability. There are so many people taking much more credit than they should, and you're the kind of person who will take way less credit than they could, okay? So many people taking more than they should, and you're taking less than you could. Allow yourself to take as much as you truthfully and honestly deserve, and just be honest with yourself about it. If you deserve more credit and you haven't been taking it, take it, group number 3. There is nothing wrong with that, and there is nothing to be ashamed of. So group number 3, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Let me know down below what really motivated you and what really hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming readings. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Amethyst, group number 4, which is an absolutely gorgeous gem that I like to wear a lot. As you can see, I'm constantly wearing amethyst, but let's move straight into your reading about the important messages that I have for you regarding your future. So first and foremost, we have temperance. So group number 4. If you're eating chips right now, okay, if you're eating a piece of cake, a bowl of spaghetti, if you're drinking something that you know you shouldn't be drinking, try and keep that to a minimum, okay? I see that temperance is important. I see that more balance is what you really need in the future. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying something that you like, with having a little bit of just like indulgence, but overindulging. That is one thing that I see that is pretty dangerous for you in the upcoming months and years. So get that under control, group number 4, and remind yourself that a lot of these things, especially when it comes to food, when it comes to things like alcohol, it's a very like mental thing. But as soon as you cut the cord between this, this emotion, this feeling, this sensation of when you drink, eat, consume something that is not as healthy for you, as soon as you disassociate the positive emotion, this sort of like feeling that it is a reward, when you remove that from the food, the thing that you want, the cigarette, whatever it is, then that is when you start to see it more objectively, and that is when it is more easy for you to just say no. So this is of course a lot easier said than done, but I just want to give you a little inspiration and motivation as to how you can view this in order to try and disassociate so much joy and happiness from food, from drugs, from something that is not good for you, in order to be able to say no and in order to be the one who is in control. So try and associate new things with happiness and joy and satisfaction. Maybe that is something really healthy. Maybe that is, for instance, drinking tea if you consider tea to be healthy. Maybe that is going on a nice walk or rewarding yourself by taking care of your body, you know, giving yourself a nice little body scrub. Whatever it is that you can like form a new connection that will give you that satisfaction, try and make that new connection. It is very important for you in order to increase the harmony in your life in the future. Then we have the Queen of Feathers, we have the Three of Crystals, as well as the Eight of Feathers. So group number 4, we have very much air sign energy here. Okay, the feathers correspond to air signs, and I want you to know that the air signs have a lot to do with your mental capabilities. And in correlation to the Three of Crystals, I want you to know that your productivity is what you really should be looking at in the future. Productivity can increase greatly as long as you allow yourself to really be truthful. That is one thing that I see in the Queen of Feathers, as well as to be solution oriented. So let us start off when it comes to productivity and just getting more things done and being more successful in correlation to the Eight of Feathers. So the 8 in numerology is the number of money, is the number of finances and abundance, okay? So there's a lot of serendipity that you have the potential for in correlation to the earthly realms, but it is important for you to have the courage to always look for a solution instead of to just sit there and think to yourself, well, it's not going to work, dot. Okay, do remove that dot, group number 4, delete, okay? It is important for you to say, well, it's not going to work like this, but if I try it like that, we could be successful. We could start to create something here. So you see how one statement closes the mind and one statement opens the mind to solutions. That is one thing that I see that is really important that the 8 of Feathers is trying to communicate with you, group number 4, especially for your future. Never close the conversation on something that you know could benefit your life or could make you more productive or more successful. Make sure that when one door sort of closes, you open another one. You open another kind of conversation that is solution oriented. In the Queen of Feathers, one thing that I see here is that your perception has to change. You have to be more truthful, okay? If you spend a lot of days where you just wake up and you're on your phone for half an hour, even though you wanted it to be a productive day, if you spend a lot of weekends kind of contemplating what you want to do or contemplating if you really want to get up and get work done, there's no point in doing that. The time that you waste sort of contemplating, you're not doing work anyways, so you might as well stop feeling bad about it, but also be truthful to yourself and tell yourself, if I want something to change in my environment, in my life, in my story of success, I will have to get up and do things that I don't want to do, because if it was so easy, then everybody would be doing it. If my biggest dreams and goals and aspirations were something that I can get so quickly, then the challenge wouldn't be there and it wouldn't be as big of a goal or a dream. So see the value in putting work into something and then having that accomplishment be sort of like on your resume for yourself and your life, okay? And see that you have to be honest with yourself and just tell yourself, look, it's either I really want this and then I'm gonna go for it and I'm not gonna sit around and procrastinate or contemplate, or I don't really want it. And then the time that I would spend procrastinating and not doing anything instead of feeling bad, I'm just gonna enjoy that time of doing nothing. Both ways are really great solutions for you to make better use of your time and be more productive, but you have to decide, okay? You can't just sit here and feel bad about procrastinating and waste your time. Then we have unlikely, which just jumped out of the pile in a very intriguing and interesting way. And we have yes. Okay, so group number 4, I see a very interesting situation for you here. I see an unlikely, the fact that it is gonna take a little bit of time for you to feel as though you can do the things that you want to do. I feel like you're somebody who likes to be very realistic, probably very rational, okay? Air sign energy is not energy that is particularly imaginative. It is energy that likes to also stay close to fact. So when something is unlikely, you may think to yourself very often like, oh, why should I do this? Why should I try this? The likelihood of this going well is smaller than the likelihood of it not going well. But remember, for instance, if you want to start your own business and you think to yourself, the likelihood of my business failing is greater than the likelihood of it succeeding according to X, Y, and Z statistic in your city or your area, your demographic, for whatever it is that you're trying to start, I want you to know that the difference between you and the failed businesses is the fact that if you put your head and your motivation down to succeed, you can succeed. There are a lot of people who gave up along the way. Statistics about businesses failing or ventures failing have a lot to do with where the person was mentally, but nobody ever investigates that or puts that within a report. Know that if you're destined to not take no for an answer, if you're not going to allow failure to be an option, failure is not going to happen, because you're going to continuously get up, pick yourself back up, and keep trying. And if you keep trying, you are going to hit success. You know what I mean? And if you put in the work, the effort, the time, and you're not procrastinating, what is going to go wrong? Okay, a lot of things go wrong because people lose their way and their motivation. And that's just a part of life, and it's something that can happen. But don't feel like you can't accomplish something that you really want because other people have sort of stalled at obstacles. Not everybody is cut out of the same wood, so to say. If you guys speak German, then you understand. Nicht jeder ist aus dem gleichen Holz geschnitzt. You will understand, everybody's made from different material, and some people are sturdier when it comes to obstacles, when it comes to disappointments. Some people, it hits them a lot harder. So know that if you really want something, say yes to it, okay? There is no reason of being your own worst enemy and standing in your own way. If you want to accomplish it, don't look at reasons why it won't work. Don't look at statistics as to why other people have failed or why so many of these businesses can't stay afloat. If you're innovative, if you have great ideas, if you allow yourself to think outside of the box and not be shy or afraid to stand your ground, you will be successful. You will find a way to at least stay afloat for as long until you hit the big success, if you know what I mean. Group number 4. Then we have lost love as well as the dream. So I definitely see here that something is going to be revealed. You're going to have kind of a revelation, okay? And I feel as though that has a lot to do with the love that you have for yourself. So you may have lost a little bit of self-love along the way. Group number 4, it may have been something that you've been struggling with. But I see here that in the dream, you will kind of gain new insight of how to love yourself more. Your future has a lot to do with surrendering to the fact that, okay, maybe you're not perfect, maybe you're not exactly where you want to be, but that doesn't mean that you can't be happy until you get to where you want to go. Just release any sort of burdens, anything that is holding you back, anything that is making your heart feel heavy. And also don't feel as though you're alone. If you've lost somebody, if you've literally lost love, if there's literally somebody who has left your life abruptly, or after a breakup, someone who is maybe no longer here, I want you to allow yourself to connect with them spiritually, to allow yourself to not feel as though that person is gone forever or that energy can never be found within your life again. Especially when it comes to lost loved ones, there are so many ways in which you can relive the memories without all the pain, but you have to find which approach works best for you in order for you to remain happy, in order for you to remain at peace with the situation, as hard and as difficult as it sounds. Then we have yin and yang as well as perception. So once again, we have a balance that is important for you, group number 4. In temperance, we already spoke about the importance of balance and harmony within your life. And in yin and yang, we have this situation again, okay? It is about creating a balance between your feminine and masculine energies, as well as just a balance for you personally with what you consume, with how you spend your time. If you're a workaholic, that is not balance. It is important for you to have downtime and to have time for self-development. I want you to know here in perception that there are a lot of illusions, a lot of veils that are most likely going to drop. That is one thing that I see in lost love. Surrendering those and seeing beyond those. So there may be an illusion in your life that makes you feel like if you're not born into a wealthy family, you will never be wealthy. Well, you know, that is not true. Most billionaires and millionaires are self-made. Well, billionaires a little less, but millionaires, I think something as high as 70% of millionaires are self-made. You know, just let that sink in, let that sink in. That could be you. Then furthermore, you may also think to yourself that you will never find love, which is just like an illusion that you have to let go of, because whenever you feel like those illusions, like those things are actually real, then your mind starts to create a life that is built around all of that BS that is not true. Okay, your mind starts to build a life where love is difficult to attain, where money is hard to come by, where it is hard for you to accomplish the things that seem like such faraway goals, because they're not goals if you've already told yourself that you will probably never accomplish it. You know, just see how it is so important for you to focus on the things that you feel as though you can accomplish, and the things where you want them, but you don't actually think that you can. You know, this kind of like illusion that, well, I want like this Ferrari, but I don't think I'll ever be able to get it. I want to be able to meditate to the point where I'm just free, where I'm just like in nirvana and nothingness. I really want that, but I don't think I ever can. You know, let go of that. If you tell yourself that you want it, but you don't think it will happen, obviously, what do you think is going to happen? It's not going to, okay? You're going to remain in a situation where you may be close to the goal, but you'll never actually accomplish it. But when you let go of that veil, of that little thing that is keeping you between your fullest potential and what you truly want and where you are right now, is when you can actually transcend to it, is when you can actually like walk up to it. Just think of it as you now being in one room and your goal being in another. So you know it's right there, you know it's achievable, you know that other people have went into that other room, but the door that you put between yourself and that room, you just can't open it, okay? Whenever you go to the door, like, you know what you would have to do, but you're too chicken to open the door. You feel like you can't do so you don't even try. But actually, all you'd have to do is open the door and just keep walking, and you'd be right there at your goal. So group number 4, I truly hope that you understood my analogy. I hope that it made sense, and I hope that this video really motivated you and inspired you. Let me know down below what really hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, group number 5, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Amazonite group number 5, and I want to get straight into your reading about the important messages that we have here for your future. So first and foremost, we have the Hanged Man. So in the Hanged Man, I want you to know that one important message about your future is to have a little bit of patience and to see things from another perspective. I want you to know that the Hanged Man is in an upside down position, not involuntarily, but because the Hanged Man wants to be in that position, because that way the Hanged Man can see things from another perspective. So use this analogy for your life, as that will be a beneficial way to see things for your future in order to make the best possible decisions, because sometimes we can see things from such a one-sided perspective, or from a perspective that is maybe dated, or that is maybe has just been forced upon us by society or family or friends, whoever it is that we surround ourselves with, and it can be hard to see past that bubble unless you change your perspective, unless you give things a little bit of time to really sink in and to just restart, okay? Like a computer, click that restart button and see things in a fresh way. So a great way to do that is through meditation as well. If you have an important decision to make, allow yourself to really meditate for like a good amount of time, maybe even for a few days, and then try and be as objective and open-minded as you possibly can be, all while keeping in mind the other person's perspective, which I know is difficult, especially if you feel strongly about something, but it can be very beneficial in trying to get to a conclusion and choice. Then we have the 6 of Acorns as well as the 7 of Shells. So group number 5, in the 6 of Acorns, one thing that I see, okay, no, we're not yet doing the 6 of Acorns. We have the 9 of Shells, we have Justice as well as Strength. So group number 5, we have a very interesting combination for you. One thing that I see here in strength as well as justice is the fact that you have to cultivate more justice for yourself. I feel as though you're very hard on yourself spiritually as well as physically, and you need to come to this conclusion that like you are a strong person, okay? And you don't have to pick up more battles in life, okay? Life is already difficult as it is. Battling internally with yourself, that is unjust, whatever the word is. In justice, I want you to come to this clarity that you already have enough obstacles that you're going to face in life. You already have enough difficulties that as a human being you will have to come to terms with, to overcome. What is the point in thinking to yourself that you're not good enough, you don't look good enough, you're not lovable, you're not going to achieve your goals, you know, your friends, your family don't actually care that much about you? Whatever it is that makes you feel like insecure or unsure, or that makes you feel lesser than, you don't need that, okay? We need justice for you. That is one thing that I see within the future, as well as just justice. If you have to take it from another source, take it, okay? If you feel a certain way about how somebody treated you, what somebody did to you, and you know that there is a good chance for you to get to a point where you can have a resolution, where you can have this sort of, I'm sure you guys know what I mean, when you can let go of resentment or any feelings that are still negative, and you come to this point of just clarity, of just lightness, then try and pursue it. You know, if you can tell somebody like, hey, I really don't like what you did to me then, or I really think that it's not fair that X, Y, and Z happened, like bring it up, okay? One thing that I see here in the 9 of Shells is that you have to talk about these things, okay? It doesn't mean that you're somebody who doesn't have gratitude. It doesn't mean that you're somebody who doesn't appreciate what they have in life because you're bringing up things for the past, or there's sort of like a resolution that you're looking for. It just means that you want to relieve yourself of any sort of emotional hardship, of anything that is going on in your life that is holding you back, okay? But as we head into Hangman, sometimes you also need to like bring the forgiveness out of your own corner and your own motivation, because sometimes forgiveness is something that you will never hear from another human being, and just like an apology and I'm sorry, no matter even if it like kills you, there are certain situations and certain people where you will just never get that. So it is important for you to come to a point where you know that you have the option to liberate yourself from any sort of feeling that is attached to this situation, that is negative, that is pulling you down. Group number 5, do not harbor resentment, because at the end of the day, that is hurting you emotionally and physically, okay? And trust me, resentment shows. Resentment festering for years or decades that has not been dealt with is beyond unhealthy. That is what causes illness, okay? And I don't even want to say, you know, the C word, the whatever word, but you guys know what I mean. Like, there are a lot of things that we can build up in our minds to the point where we become physically ill. So know that a healthy mind, like if your mind can make you healthy, if your mind can cure you, if positive thought can make you feel better physically, especially over a long amount of time, just imagine what negative thought can do to destruct the body. So always stick to the option of cultivating positive thought, as well as just keeping your cells and yourself in a space where the energy is flowing nicely, okay, where there is no friction, because there is a big difference if you're living in hostility with yourself and your body, whether, you know, compared to you living at a point where you are just celebrating your successes, where you're celebrating everything that you have been triumphant at. So I see that you need to put a little bit more emphasis on that. I see that in the future, there are a lot of great accomplishments that you have coming for you, but you won't be able to really be in the moment and celebrate them as much as you could if you're still harboring kind of like old things, old resentments from situationships, relationships, and just times where people did you wrong, okay? And as I said, if you can't get an apology, if it's somebody close to you, sometimes you can't just like ban them out of your life, so it's best to talk it out, but sometimes there is no point, and it's important for you to free yourself. Group number 5. Then we have abundance as well as peaceful resolution. So group number 5, I definitely see that these situations will come to a peaceful resolution. That is completely clear, and that there is more abundance coming into your life. So you may have always wanted more abundance. You may have always said to yourself, when is this finally going to happen? But I want you to know here that through the fact that we have strength in your reading, which shows a lot of endurance, means that you're not a quitter. You're not somebody who is going to give up. And that is truly going to create a bountiful life for you. That is truly going to allow you to have good fortune and serendipity just, come in and out of your life more often than if you were somebody to feel as though you can't keep going. So that is one thing that I see that is really positive. But as I said, it may require a little more patience from you, group number 5, and I don't want you to feel depleted because of that. I don't want you to feel as though having patience means that you're just waiting around. There is so much discovery that you can do while you're patiently waiting. There's so much that you can see from a different viewpoint that can really change you for the better and allow you to milk those successes even more when they come. So then we have the hidden path, we have yin and yang, as well as lost love. Okay, so group number 5, in the hidden path, one thing that I see here is in the future, you will learn to sort of put spiritual matter as well as things in the earthly realms more into one. You will sort of realize that they both go hand in hand, that they don't have to be separate. And that is one thing that I find very important. There's a reason why in the tarot, there is a suit of pentacles. That is a suit of the earthly realms, of everything that, possessions, of time, of resources. It doesn't just exist just because, there are a lot of people who are very drawn to that, who find that very important. And I can truly relate to you. I find it very important to manage my time properly, my health. There are certain things that are handcrafted that I like to have in my life, and they come at a certain price, obviously. So I want you to know here that you will start to understand that you don't have to choose one or the other. You don't have to be either spiritual or somebody who appreciates things in the material realms. You don't have to choose between being selfless and what seems like selfish, what is seemingly selfish, okay? You can treat yourself. You can have nice things in your life, even while being a selfless person. If you have worked hard for these things, enjoy them, okay? Life is all about balance. That is why yin yang has showed up in your reading. It is all about balance and all about knowing where your priorities really lie. If your priorities lie in a very pure spot, in a spot where other people and their needs are just as important to you as your needs, but you can still afford to treat yourself, that is a perfect balance. That is really having your sort of like head in a space that makes sense, that is giving, that is grateful, and has a lot of gratitude. In lost love, I want you to know here that you have to release this inner turmoil. That is one thing that I see in lost love. I see that it is costing you a lot of self-love. It is costing you a lot of love from other people, because when you are internally in conflict between whether you want to be more spiritual, whether you want to be that person who can live with nothing and be selfless, or you want to be that person that is able to afford things in the material realms, that causes so much friction and conflict that you are not moving along, that you're not moving forward, that you're complacent, and that you're sort of in an inner battle. You don't have to choose, group number 5. I feel as though that is one of the main things that you have to take within yourself into your future, that it is completely okay to be a mixture of different things, and that you should not grade yourself on how little you can live with or how minimalistic you can be, and just think to yourself, anything that is in pure minimalism or pure selflessness 24 hours a day is bad. We're all human beings, and what is important is that you can see other perspectives, is that you can put yourself on the back seat sometimes and do something out of the goodness of your own heart to help another human being. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be 100% selfless. What is important is that you are happy with yourself, because that will make you happier helping other people and giving to other people. So Try and get rid of any of that internal conflict as it is not necessary and it is only holding you back. So group number 5, this is a reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Let me know down in the comment section what really hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos.